Well, he is one of Canada's most recognizable artists, Jim Cuddy, frontman for Blue Rodeo and successful solo artist. He has just released his latest solo album, Constellation. He's heading back out on tour, this time with two of his sons. I had a chance to catch up with Jim Cuddy and his boys and his band in his studio in Toronto before they hit the road. It's a cold day in Toronto, but warm and cozy inside Jim Cuddy's recording studio. Today, he's gathering the band, starting rehearsals for their cross-Canada tour.
I just can't surrender. No, I just can't surrender to your love.
You mentioned you have both your sons coming on this tour with you.
Yes.
What is that dynamic like to have your kids with you?
Well, it's a fantastic thing. Devin Cuddy, my eldest, and Sam Pauly, my youngest. This is the first time we've done it as a more formally in concert situation. I don't want them just there as a family band. I want them there as featured artists. So I'm really looking forward to it.
It's your song, you remember that?
Yeah, I know, I started the second. Let me try this again.
Is there ever a moment when you're watching them as musicians and you look over and you see them doing their thing, being their own men with their own career, and how do you feel?
Well put. I think that's all the time. I mean, we've seen all of their gigs, as many as we can, and they're not looking to me for approval or advice. You know, I watch how hard they work, and I watch how they advance, and I watch the new songs. It makes me proud, but I also just enjoy it. I hope that's what this is going to be. I'm a big smiler, so I'm sure it's going to, when they're playing, I'll be goofy smile.
It's that smile and voice that has won over fans across the country.
I'll be the left behind.
Wow. Eat your heart out, rest of Canada.
I want your heart.
I love touring in the winter. There is some kind of lockdown feeling to towns and cities in the winter. People are not concerned about the rest of the country. They're just about what is going on in their place. You see how people cope, and you know, we're all pretty hardy. Nobody is walking around thinking, I can't handle it, I gotta get out of here. But I mean, from Sydney, Nova Scotia to Victoria and all the places in between, I really do enjoy the sort of one-day tableau of how everybody handles the Canadian winter.
He has a way with words.
You were never the same way twice.
And has for decades.
This paper scattered on the lawn.
Admitting for him, the first line is the most important.
I saw your note, your missing coat.
I think that one of the things that when you're writing a song, you have an idea about what you want to talk about. And once you get the first line, then you know where to go. Then you know how to tell the rest of the story.
Pray for my tomorrows, gather up my sorrows, and tear them to the cold, cold wind.
And these stories have come together as Cuddy's fourth solo album, Constellation.
You've said this album is about love and loss. Why those themes?
I think there's been a lot of loss. I mean, there's been a lot of publicly acknowledged loss. You know, Gord was a friend. John Mann has terrible Alzheimer's. And then there was a personal story about Rob Gray, my very good friend who I lost last year. First of all, I think that that's just a product of my age. I think that the age I'm at, I'm going to start losing people. And then the balance for that is love. You know, loss is a bewildering thing. There's nothing you can do about it. But the constancy of love is some kind of antidote to that.
You mentioned Gord Downie, and you were with him on stage for his very last time on stage.
I mean, truly, as that man faced the inevitable, everything positive in him came out. I mean, he became such a loving guy and such a positive speaker, and yet still one who seemed to acknowledge and accept the end. So I think he was very inspiring that way.
What a great compliment to say about somebody, that the hardest part of your life is when the most positive things came out.
I mean, I was still surprised at the notice of his death because he'd been doing so much. I knew all the people he was working with. I thought, how can that be? 2 weeks ago, I think he was recording. So, really magnificent man.
captive fans across so many generations. What is it about you and your music that you think touches people from grade school to older?
I think that we, along with a lot of other bands, are a reflection of the way life is in Canada. They showed people that we're different. We're not Americans. We're not American light. We're Canadians. And we have a different set of values, and we have a different view of ourselves. And somehow that was reflected in these bands and music. And I think that people became really fervent followers because they recognized themselves in it. And they recognized there was a uniqueness to us that we didn't know existed.
When you be the leader, I'd be the left behind. Oh, you'd be the leader, I'd be the left behind.
Constellation is out right now, and the Jim Cuddy Band heads out on their cross-Canada tour today. Check details on our website, yourmorning.ca.